This is exactly why Defund the Police was a bad slogan. If someone disagrees with it, you explain what the slogan means and they agree with you, that just means you had a terrible slogan. No. Here's why that's wrong. Okay? Black Lives Matter. When Black Lives Matter first came out, it was, once again, activist backed. Okay? It was a statement. It was a message that the activists had put together. It wasn't like a focus group tested in the way that like a lot of these Republican narratives are. A lot of these Republican messages are. Having said that, initially when people said Black Lives Matter, a lot of people actually had a negative association with it. A lot of people actually went, oh, well, that just means white lives don't matter. The reason why I'm explaining this is because obviously people understood exactly what BLM means after Donald Trump negatively polarized, Donald Trump basically got Democrats to be negatively polarized against Trump when he was in opposition of BLM. And for a certain period of time, everybody understood, especially during peak woke in 2020, when BLM means, police are disproportionately targeting black people and brown communities, and we need to stop that, right? But leading up to 2020, when you said BLM, everyone would say all lives matter. A lot of people, like Republicans, had counter-messaged against it so aggressively. And because nobody actually defended Black Lives Matter in general, okay, if people heard what BLM meant, they were like, oh, I don't know about this, whatever, right? The reason why that slogan actually then overcame the negative associations was because more people messaged and defended the slogan and said, no, this is what it means. That's it. Slogans are only as effective or only as good as how much people explain what they mean. You can bastardize or you can actually destroy a slogan and a movement if there is no defense for it. Okay? That's it. And the same goes for like defund the police as well. I think people take this like... I think people take an immediate negative stance against it because they just like are predisposed with like backing down. Like they're so used to just saying like, oh, we lost this one, let's just move on. And that's the reason why there are certain slogans that I just don't back down from, like from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. Like they tried to do that. A lot of Zionist advocacy groups still to this day try to make it seem as though from the river to the sea, Palestine would be free is actually a genocidal slogan that means like we have to kill all the Jews or whatever. And I'm like, no, that's not the case. And I will never back down from that because that's not what it means. And the actual intention of bastardizing what that slogan means is specifically so that people can't even protest peacefully against Israel. And the same goes for BLM. They wanted to actually stop people from saying Black Lives Matter, not because they were scared of the slogan itself, but because they wanted to stop you from protesting because they didn't like what you were protesting about. Okay? That's it. Isn't a slogan a device to quickly get a message across? If the slogan only becomes worthwhile once you spend massive energy to correct the misinterpretation it's created, doesn't that defeat the point? It's kind of like Fear and. Fear and is a silly podcast name. Is a silly brand name. Everyone at first was like, oh, it's stupid. It doesn't matter. What the fuck do you mean? It doesn't matter. But like, ultimately, if you can overcome that initial hurdle, then everyone will associate it with like actually what it is. Okay? It's unique. That's just how all slogans and sloganeering and all marketing works. That's just how it is. Anyway, a lot of people are still saying, nope, it's still bad. Okay. It gives so much ammo to conservatives, though. Calling it defund the police is just a bad name. I think like having these sorts of back and forth debates is also utterly unproductive in general. Okay, because a slogan is just something that you say to start the conversation. Okay, and a lot of people, no matter how carefully calculated your slogan is, your opposition will always try to frame it in a negative fashion. Black Lives Matter means all lives don't matter until Black lives also matter because Black lives don't matter right now, right? Like that's what it meant. And yet people actively bastardized it. That's why I always go back to BLM. But now everybody knows what it means. And now it's gone through its popularity and now it's actually it's actually now associated with, unfortunately, the national organization, which was somewhat fraudulent. But ultimately, most people still understand what it means when someone says Black Lives Matter, right? Like, for example, the liberal protests, No Kings, okay, created by 5501 that took place this past weekend with 7 million attendees all across thousands of different towns and big cities all around the United States of America. If we were to leave it up to the Republicans, they'll say No Kings means you want America to fucking die. You hate America. And they were actively trying to position against that. They were like, oh, No Kings means you hate America. You hate America. Trump is not a king, so obviously you just want him dead or something. Or whenever people talk about like Antifa, anti-fascism, right? They're like, oh, you just want to kill us. You just want to kill us. You're saying we're a Nazi and you want to kill us. It's like, no, we're just saying you're a Nazi because you're behaving like a Nazi. You don't have to concede on the messaging front on a lot of these things, right? Because the moment that you do end up conceding and say, you know what, you're right, this slogan is bad, you have, for no real reason, decided to drop this cause instead of just like doubling down and explaining to people exactly what it means until you change the association with it. A lot of this stuff, a lot of the back and forth on the optics front revolves around which side's messaging is more powerful. It's not actually about the slogan itself. I'll give you the best example. Pro-life. Okay? Do we believe Republicans actually mean that they're pro-life? No, they're pro-force. They're pro taking away women's bodily autonomy. They're pro forcible pregnancies being carried to term. And yet they have been able to design their movement, not just on the slogan alone, but they've been able to design they've been able to design what that means. Okay. It's not because the slogan itself is good, even though it is good, right? It is a good slogan, but everybody understands if you're opposition to pro-life sentiment, you immediately know what that means. If you're pro-choice, you immediately know what pro-life means, right? There is value, I think, in standing by certain messages and not be afraid to defend them. There are red lines that I personally draw as well. As you guys know, one of the most famous ones is when I refused to concede on, like, from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free, or even globalize the Intifada, which Zoran shouldn't have actually conceded on. I think his initial statement was appropriate and apt. And the reason why I don't do that, the reason why I stand firmly and committed to certain messages, because I know that the oppositional framing on those messages are not about the slogan itself. They're not about the slogan itself at all. And they're about the movement itself. The same goes for socialism, Marxism, communism, all of those things. People, when they hear it, go, ugh, I'm scared of that. I've been conditioned into being scared of that. I've been conditioned into being fearful. I've been conditioned into assuming that, like, it means mass poverty for all. And it's like, no, it just means that you get to take home more pay from what you create at your workplace. It means that you get to have more control over your life. It means more democracy happening at the workplace as well. You like democracy. I like democracy. We all like democracy. And yet we spend 80% of our lives, we spend 80% of our adult lives in a non-democratic structure because the workplace is authoritarian. The workplace is outright fascist, really, when you think about it. So that's it. It's just like you can explain to people what this means depending on what your worldview looks like. Okay?